Welcome to Legacy Conversations, a channel where we preserve military memories and history.
Hello everyone, welcome here to Legacy. I'm excited because, when we were in South Africa, we went to different places and we were treated very well. And one of the places we went to was Cape Town, which is not a particularly favorite destination for me. But Rebecca really loved it there very much. And we lived in Simonstown. Had a very nice Airbnb with two wonderful hosts as well. Really great people. And we could look over the bay all the time. And often we would see the Navy ship, the frigate, the SAS Amatola, which would sail out and then sail back in. It was an amazing sight. It was really something which I will remember for the rest of my days. It's very ironic because I wrote a book, I think codenamed Phoenix, where we actually sink that very same ship. Fictional, of course, but there's always a reason why I write these things. I don't write books just for entertainment. I also write books to warn. And it is so that I became aware of plans which terrorists have to actually sink such ships, to get the old Q ship principle back into a fore. It wasn't used for a couple of decades, but the idea would be to get this ship close, and if you can get it close enough, you open fire. Well, it's got no armor, and if you hit the right spots and you can take out the essential spots on it with anti-tank rockets, I'm fairly convinced that you can actually severely damage such a ship, even sink it. It's possible. That's why I wrote the book. It's to warn. But I was very glad to see the ship still sailing around. I'm proud of our Navy, man. I really love our Navy. I have no problem with the Navy. I hear all the rumors, all the stories, and yes, in this series of the Naval Museum, we have Admiral Angel Soderland speaking to us. He's also the man in charge of a submarine, or part of a submarine, SAS Assegai, the old Johanna, as they called her. This is now a museum ship, and it's about to open, probably open by the time you see this video. And if you're ever close to Simonstown Naval Base, please go and look at that submarine as well. It's well worth your time. It's a fantastic effort, and we were really treated well by the Admiral as well as the naval staff. We had no problems whatsoever. At one stage, we got lost, and we ended up with a Navy diving school, or where they train the divers anyway. Very fit-looking men standing around there, I must tell you. And totally professional, of course, what you expect of a Navy. And they were very kind, very friendly, even at the gates. Everybody was just thoroughly military professionals. There's no other word for it. There's fantastic people. I understand now if you wish to join the South African Navy, which is small, but professional, once again, that word, you need to have mathematics as well as science at a fairly high degree. Otherwise, they won't even look at you. And of course, to go onto the ships, or even more than that, the submarines, and so you really need to be something very special. But we were there to record the Naval Museum, and they had absolutely no problem with us. In fact, they gave me a whole bunch of mementos, which I will at the future show you in another video, because I still have to frame it and put it in my study and everywhere. It's like really nice little gifts and things we got as we went along. And we decided that we're going to make very short clips, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, sometimes a little bit less even, to show you different parts of a naval museum at Simonstown. And I did that on purpose, and I did that because I want to get you to go there. I don't want to show everything in one video, and it is very nice, and we don't get the publicity for the museum, which we actually want to get. And so the Admiral was kind enough to stand there right next to the exhibits, and he would explain to us what it's about. I think at some stage I started annoying him because I kept on saying that I donated 500 rands, and I expect you people to match me doing that. And if you can, of course, just to raise funds. Because, guys, I've been to several museums now. I've been to the one in Tetsolo or Tetsong, as we call it, at Saxon World in Johannesburg. I've been at the SAF in Port Elizabeth. I've been at the SAF in Swartkop. And we made fantastic videos, which is going to come out. And, they all say to me the same thing. They say, Koos, you know what? We don't really get the support what we should get from government, and they have other priorities, which we understand and respect. Therefore, it is up to us as veterans and as those who care to do something. And to do something means to donate money or to donate your time or donate your skills. If you want to go to one of these museums and assist, then please contact these people. Their details would be in every single video where we talk about that particular museum. Just get involved. You can't sit back here and not get involved. You have to volunteer now. You have to stand up, because this is your heritage. This is the actual machines and actual history. You can stand there and you can actually touch them. It is fantastic. And of course, those of you who've seen Rebecca's video, which she made, where we spoke about South Africa until she left on the 10th of December to come back home here to Thailand. I was still another 6 weeks in the country. She, she sort of didn't mention it, but I made sure to mention it. As you walk into the Naval Museum downstairs, then you'll see there's like an air raid bunker. Yeah, go and look at that thing. Very, very fascinating things happen in that air raid bunker. Go there, and then if you survive it, just crawl out and then go to the actual museum, which is 2 buildings, which is, once again, for South Africa, actually weird, because you're talking about 300-year-old buildings there, at least, if my mathematics isn't completely wrong, which it might be, but it's old. But the Admiral is explaining all these things. I also decided I'm not going to make a separate video for every one of these short clips. So you're going to see the same video with me in every one of the clips, because I have the same message anyway, and it's probably longer than the actual clip, or about the same in length. Please forgive me. We are really, really busy here with videos and editing, and we are being swamped, which is a very good thing, and I'm very grateful, and all honor to God, not to me, that we are privileged to bring you the South African military history in a video format. We're really, really privileged to do that. But anyway, to make a long story short, let's quickly see what our sponsor has to say, Vic. Because as you can imagine, it cost a bit of money to make these videos. About 90,000 rands, actually. That's what we spent while we were there, including the aeroplane tickets, things like that. There's something I want to bring to your attention, and that is George M. James. That's an author. And he wrote many, many books, dozens of books, and all of them has to do with South African military, has to do with espionage, counterterrorism, that type of thing. And each of those books are written with a specific purpose. And there are 53 of them. And George M. James has been a sponsor of this channel like in forever, since the very first video came out. So whatever George M. James books you buy, come back to Legacy. And they are available on audio, they're available on Kindle, they're available in paper, hardcover and softcover. All of them are available on Amazon. Some of the books are available in South Africa as well, in softcover. And I'll leave the details here. I urge you to have a look at it. Go to the website, have a look at the website, and I'm sure you're going to discover marvelous things there. I can be very blunt to you. If you like Legacy, if you want to support Legacy, want to support us in what we do, then please go and look at the George M. James books. Get hold of them. You're going to learn things which you didn't know. And a lot of the things we've discussed on Legacy has also come out in those books. And what is fascinating, those books were written before Legacy came. So we were deeper knowledge than what I think most of us would realize. So again, guys, George M. James, go and look at it.
Hello everyone, we are back. This is episode 2 of the Naval Museum in Simonstown. I have the Admiral with me, and we're now studying at General Botha, which is a training ship.
Correct. The SATS, South African Training Ship General Botha, was opened as a training institute for the Merchant Navy, and it was also a school which covered from the final years of the youth education. She opened in 1922 aboard the ship in Simon's Bay. During the war, the ship was taken over by the Royal Navy and she moved up to Red Hill, and in 1946 to Gordons Bay, where she functioned as the Naval College then in Gordons Bay. And if you see the GB up on the mountain, that stands for General Botha, not Gordons Bay. In 1966, she moved to Granger Bay, and that's where her history continued. But the actual General Botha had been sunk as a target because of her condition in 1947. And this room commemorates the ship itself, plus the following courses. But you'll find lots of items which come from the ship, the original ship. A presentation plate behind me, the guns they used to drill with on board. You'll find various aspects. General Botha has a magnificent record, and in fact, during World War II, she lost a large number of cadets in action, and I think I'm correct in saying that more than any other school that we know of. And over here, you'll see the roll of honor just from that war. Some of them are rather interesting because you'll find Nettleton, VC. So we lost some very brave men. There are a number of them here, and many died in action, many in the Air Force. They weren't all Navy, very few were Navy, in fact. They moved into various services. A few famous people in my books, a few people realize but will know, is Sailor Malan. Adolf Malan was a General Botha old boy, and his nickname Sailor came because he'd been at the General Botha and then served in Union Castle Lines for a short while. He has got a unique set with DSO and bar, DFC and bar, and everybody remembers him as the third top scoring ace in the Battle of Britain. Another famous South African was H.H. Bierman, commonly known as Boozy Bierman. I don't know exactly why it started, and I'm not going to start any rumors. But he, during the war, was in the South African Naval Voluntary Reserve. He joined the SDF initially, and he commanded Gamtoos, and he won the OBE for his opening of all the harbors along the Mediterranean, including Toulon, Benghazi, and Tobruk. And he became the only full admiral in the South African Navy to date, having commanded the Navy from about 1956 through to 1973, if I remember correctly, or 71 at least. So this is a very elite high school in many ways.
May I ask you, why do we not have full admirals anymore? Why do we stop at Vice Admiral?
The rank is purely on post, and there's only one post in the Defence Force for a four-star, and that's Chief of the Defence Force. One thing I can also just mention is that the General Botha was actually purchased by a chap called Howard Davis, who lost his son during the First World War. And he greatly admired General Botha, so he named it after him. And he's quite well known in South Africa as well as an industrialist. So it's got a long history.
Okay, so this ship, when it was sunk as gunnery practice, must have caused a bit of tears, anger perhaps?
It did, not anger. She was in no condition. That's what you do with old ships. 2 of my old ships were also being sunk, and it's a way of, rather than scrapping. But at that stage, it was the last firing by our 9.2-inch guns as well. And there are still a lot of people whose ashes get scattered over it. She's in the bay, a known position. Luckily, a bit too deep for the average diver to get into trouble on her. So she's untouched to a degree.
In the old days, before the Louis Botha arrived, if you wanted to join the Navy, were you in Royal Navy?
The only naval institute you could join at that stage was the South African Naval Volunteer Reserve. They were formally started in 1903, Cape and Natal, and they became a reserve force unit of the South African Defence Force, although they were for the Royal Navy. We didn't have a Navy at all. But it counted as your compulsory training. So you could volunteer for the RNVR South Africa, and it counted as if you volunteered for a regiment, the Kimberley Regiment or any other regiment. And she ran in parallel with the SA Naval Service, which was formed in 1922, when we were gifted 3 ships by the Royal Navy.
So you had a choice. You could, even if you've done with General Botha, you could have joined another Navy and you would just be accepted into it.
If you completed the General Botha, you could join the Royal Navy Volunteer Reserve as a midshipman, or you could, in fact, apply to join the Navy, because that was the equivalent of getting your matric in those days.
Okay, thank you. The next episode we're going to make is about the First World War. And that's also here at the museum.
Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and ring the bell to receive notifications.